My stepsister's been spreading rumors that I bullied her and forced me to drop out of school. My stepmom pretends to sweet talk me, playing me against my mom. In the end, they sent someone to assault me, and my mom died in a car accident on a snowy night while trying to get justice for me. I was reborn on the first day of school, finding my stepsister cutting up her princess dress in the empty bathroom. You did this, didn't you? Know that? I shoved her head into the toilet, saying, I've killed people, spent 2 years in jail. That's what I really did. Got it. The first day of school, an empty bathroom, Chloe hums while cutting her princess dress. Do you know why this dress ended up like this? 'Cause you're jealous that I'm prettier and you tore it. Chloe's my stepsister. We're almost the same age, just a few months apart, but she dresses like a porcelain doll while I'm overweight and ugly. I was 5 when dad and mom divorced, and she, the illegitimate child, took over my spot. Who would have thought we'd end up in the same high school? I didn't plan on dealing with you, but you keep appearing in front of me. Such an eyesore. She smirked at me. Guess what? If I cry and tell the teacher you cornered me in the bathroom and bullied me, will they expel you? Are you sure no one's around? I asked. Of course, Chloe laughed. No one's gonna testify for you. Good. I grabbed her neck and dragged her into a stall, shoving her head into the sink. In my past life, thanks to her and her mom, I learned self-defense to fight my fears. This time, I found out this demon had a neck that snaps easily. It was so simple to control her. Chloe screamed and struggled. I pulled her up. How's the toilet water taste? You're crazy, she yelled. Didn't you say I bullied you? Cutting a dress is nothing. Eat crap, I said, dunking her head back into the sink. Last time, she ruined my reputation, made me friendless, then openly bullied me. She twisted the truth, claiming she was the victim. This life, I'll do to her what she did to me. Chloe ran from the bathroom, crying. Soon, I was summoned to the office. The homeroom teacher asked, Zoe, she said you did it. Yeah, I nodded, teary-eyed. My quick response surprised the teacher. Chloe, still crying, interrupted. We're half-sisters. Out of jealousy over my dress, my sister hit me and shoved my head in the toilet. I looked down. Not only does she have little dresses, but also dad picking her up. The teacher realized the family dynamic. I'll call your parents. Mom and dad arrived quickly. Dad slapped me right away. Is this how you treat your sister? Why'd you hit her? Mom cried, hugging me. Look at the daughter you raised. Calm down, let's talk it over. The stepmom gently soothed him. She was well kept, glowing, making mom look so worn out and unreasonable. I didn't mean it. Sis called me fat and ugly. That dad left me and mom. I thought if I wore a little dress, I'd be pretty too. I didn't know it would rip, or that sis would fall into the toilet. I'm sorry. Dad hesitated, looking away. Chloe screamed, you're lying. You shoved me. Sis also said women who don't dress up become ugly monsters and deserve to lose their men. I'm scared I'll become like mom. Look, auntie's so well kept by dad, but you have to lug bricks in the market for me. Are women destined to be mistreated like that? Stepmom's face turned pale. Dad lit a cigarette. My mom, fueled by anger, protected me. No way. Let a man like that go. I'm here for you. The teacher said, you have a unique family. Let's let this go. Don't let adult grudges affect the kids. Teacher, she hit me. How can this be let go? Dad, Mom, I want her expelled. I don't want to see her at school again. Chloe shouted. Right away, I knelt, banging my head on the floor. Sorry, sis. Sorry. I didn't mean it. Forgive me this time. Mom's selling everything to have me at school. I can't drop out. Please, sis, please. The teacher rushed to lift me, tears in her eyes, comforting my weeping mom. Zoe won't drop out. I'll get her a hardship grant, cover all the fees. Stepmom had to save face, grabbing my hand. Zoe's had it tough. Chloe was wrong to say such things. Aunt'll buy you dresses. Chloe, shocked, stormed out crying. I smiled through tears. Really? Thanks, auntie. That day, she took me shopping for clothes. Then we went to a supermarket. See these snacks, she said, showing off a full bag. We do this every week. If I was still the naive 15-year-old, I'd drool, sucking up, hoping for her scraps. Her little favors and feigned kindness tempted me to leave mom for her home, ruining my life. The reborn me asked, then why have you never bought them for me? Stepmom hesitated. I'm dad's kid too. He wouldn't just ignore me. Chloe says you told him to. She awkwardly smiled. Of course not. She's just spouting nonsense. Your mom dislikes me, not letting me visit. I didn't know your dad was neglecting you. After this, whatever Chloe gets, Zoe will too. You're so nice. I hugged her waist. She patted my head. Look at that awful woman. Just to save face, she lets her own daughter get bullied, because she wants to be the perfect stepmother. She wants to be prettier than my mom, more virtuous than my mom, more liked by her daughter than my mom. That way, her rise from mistress to wife seems legit. That evening, wearing new clothes, I came home with a bag full of food. Mom was shocked. So much food. Where'd you get it? Did they buy it for you? I stuffed a chocolate into her mouth. I'll have this much every week now. This time, I won't be seduced by my stepmother and let my mom be abandoned again, dying in a snowy night while fighting for me. I'm gonna take their money to take care of her. First day of school, Chloe ran around in a dirty dress, becoming a laughingstock. Everyone knew she was the mistress's daughter. She didn't become a school legend. Instead, she met some school dropouts early on. In my past life, she brought her thug boyfriend to beat me up, steal my money, and left a scar on my face. I saw them whispering and the way they looked at me, and I knew the day wasn't far off. I said to the butcher I knew, "Uncle, there's a school project. Can I work here for a day? Your teacher actually allows you to work here. The teacher wants us to find our dream job." I looked down. You know my family's situation. My sister keeps pushing me to drop out. If I could run a meat stall, at least my mom wouldn't starve. He sighed. All right, you can come. The next day, as soon as I left school, the thugs followed me. I briskly walked into the butcher shop, put on an apron, and grabbed a butcher's knife. Slap, slap, slap. On the street side, the stall sold the freshest beef. The air was thick with its scent. At my feet lay a giant cow head, eyes staring blankly. My leather apron was slick with blood. With each swing of the knife, blood splattered onto my cheek. All around me, on the cutting board and in my hands, there was still bloody meat, twitching in freshness. I eyed the thugs intently, slicing and dicing away at the meat. The thugs ran away in fear. I never saw them again. Not only did they flee, Chloe started to avoid me too. One day after school, I pulled her into the equipment room at the end of the hallway. "Why are you avoiding me? Weren't you planning to have me beaten up?" Chloe screamed, so I slapped her. "Shut up," Chloe whimpered. "If you touch me, my dad will have you arrested." I actually did 2 years in juvie. Just got out not long ago. I grabbed her hair and slammed her head against the basketball hoop. AR. Blood smeared Chloe's face. A scar in the shape of a cross would last after she heals. I know, because, in my last life, it was in this very room that I got my lifetime scar. I became uglier, more self-conscious, more isolated, almost died from depression. I know. So, you wanna see how it feels? As she ran screaming, I lifted my arm and bashed it down on the barbell. This time, it blew up. Our family of 5 got together again, but this time in the principal's office. Chloe's face got messed up, so I made sure your daughter tasted what it's like to be scarred. Dad raised his fist at my mom. This time, my stepmother watched, wiping her eyes, but didn't stop him. Just then, with the school nurse by my side, I walked into the principal's office, pale. My left eye was swollen, my arm in a sling. Dad dropped his fist. My stepmom looked at me shocked, and my mom rushed over. "Who hit you?" "Huh, just tell me. Don't be afraid, I'm here." I pointed at Chloe. Chloe screamed. "She's the one who hit me." "Mom, she hit me, not the other way around." After school, when I was done cleaning and leaving, my sister dragged me into the equipment room. I averted my gaze. She sat on me and slapped me. I couldn't take it and pushed her, and then she hit the hoop. She got hurt and then stepped on my hand in revenge. Chloe lost it and lunged at me. "You bullied me. How dare you lie? How dare you? Stop fighting." The teacher intervened. The nurse shielded me, angry. In my 20 years as a school nurse, I've never seen a child so vicious, to break someone's hand on purpose. Mom sobbed loudly. Dad and stepmom were silent. "Why aren't you speaking? You believe her too, don't you?" Chloe was hysterical, yelling, "She's a murderer. She's been in juvie. She could do this. She's a bad seed, a killer. How dare you talk about your sister like that?" My mom gasped. "She spreads rumors about me and tries to have people beat me up." I correctly named the thugs. They were quickly brought in. Yeah, Chloe kept begging us to beat her up. The thugs realized the mess and backed off. But we thought it was wrong, so we didn't do it. I said nervously, "You followed me." That day at the meat stall, a lot of people saw. The butcher confirmed. Yep, the day Zoe worked with me, these thugs stood opposite for half an hour. I had to take her home. Admittedly, we didn't do anything. I softly cried. When she slapped me, she said, "This is nothing. Wait until they come for you." She's lying, she's lying. She's the criminal. She's been to juvie. I'm the one who needs protection. Enough. The teacher stood up from the desk. Zoe has no criminal record. Chloe, you're full of lies. The butcher uncle shook his head at my dad. Don't be so biased, just cause it's your second marriage. Your daughter spreads rumors about her sister at school, ignores her. I've heard it all. She's not my daughter, but it pains me. How can you be a father? What? The first wife's child isn't your daughter? The principal and teachers fact-checked the rumors about me, held a quick meeting, and finally told my dad, "Your family situation is too unusual for us. We don't recommend Chloe to continue studying here. If you insist and she stays, there could be consequences for her. Yeah, if she doesn't leave, She'll get a disciplinary record for bullying classmates. Chloe burst into tears and fainted. Dad signed the transfer paperwork. My stepmom came over and hugged me right in front of my mom. Zoe, your sister didn't mean any harm. It's just been so long since you've been home. You should visit your dad and sister more. Okay, auntie. I hugged her waist. Her hand was so cold, like mine. At school, when classmates heard about my situation, they felt sorry for me. Some even helped me when I broke my arm. Sorry, we heard a lot of bad things about you. Thought maybe you had killed someone. It's all right. When Chloe transferred, I logged into the new school forum and anonymously shared all her heroic deeds. Just like the rumors about me spread before. I was sure Chloe was ruined. I took out an old family photo and cut out the princess-like girl in the middle, focusing on dad and stepmom. They're next. Stepmom invited me to live at her place, but mom objected. I said, Dad and aunt live in the villa you decorated. You carried me to the construction site each day, watching it go from framework to furnished. We got kicked out when it was done. Never spent a night there. Mom, I want to see it. Tears filled her eyes as she saw me off. And that day I entered the home I'd never seen. It was lavish. Stepmom settled me in Chloe's room. Chloe stays in a dorm, only coming home on weekends. You can stay here. These are her dresses. She showed me the wardrobe filled with beautiful clothes I never had. She made a tiny space for my old uniform. Remember, your stuff goes here. Don't touch else. And you can't wear her size. She took me to the bathroom next. These are her skincare products. She put away the expensive lotions, locking them in a lit cabinet, and smiled at my acne-ridden face. Your toothbrush cup goes here. She flaunted luxury and rubbed in my poverty, fueling my desires. After her hospitality display, she left in her black silk nightgown, tossing her wallet in a drawer. If you want pocket money, take it yourself. In my last life, I believed her, taking small amounts like $5 or $10 now and then until she told Dad her money kept disappearing. Dad got suspicious. Caught me in the act once. I was taking $50 meant for class funds. He slammed my head against the wall, calling me a thief. I said stepmom told me to take it. She acted shocked. I never said that. Zoe, wanting pocket money is fine, but $1,500 is too much for a student. Mom knelt before them and gave up 5 months' salary, which she had saved to buy an electric bike. She never got one before she died. Remembering that, I took a handful of $100 bills from my stepmom's wallet for my mom's new bike. Days later, Chloe came home. At dinner, stepmom said, my money's gone. Chloe pointed at me. She stole it. Stepmom replied, you weren't home. How could you know? Chloe said, when I was home, money never went missing. Sure, quiet now. Dad's annoyed. Chloe slammed her spoon down. She moved into my room, and I can't say anything. I will say it. Zoe, you're a thief. A thief. She ran off crying, stepmom chasing after her. Dad ominously warned me, if I catch you stealing again, I'll break your legs. I said, I'm not healed yet. I didn't take anything. Dad furrowed his brow. The money goes missing on weekends, I pointed out. Dad looked toward Chloe's direction. I went to stepmom, complained. Chloe accused me of stealing and wants me to sleep on the floor. She barked. I never said that. Chloe snapped and said, you should be sleeping on the floor. My real mom would never let me sleep on the floor. Stepmom said, Chloe, let your sister stay a few days, okay? Chloe, frustrated, pushed her, you're biased, and stormed off to her room. I followed her in, victoriously jumping on her bed, and took out my newly bought MP4. It was still 2008. And a color screen MP4 was a rare thing. Chloe was shocked. How'd you get that? Mom and Dad bought it for me. Oh no, Mom said not to tell you. If you found out, I should say Mom bought it. Chloe, about to leave to question, stopped in her tracks. They don't want to distract you from studying, so they didn't get you one. Don't take it to heart. Chloe clenched her fists, while I, slapping a costly face mask on from her collection, put in my headphones and read my novel. A few days later, in her school forum, I casually commented, new girl Chloe's family seems loaded. Friends chimed in. Someone even posted a picture of her with an MP4. I showed Dad the photo with teary eyes. How does my sister have so much money and an MP4 when I get nothing? He was livid. The next weekend, chaos erupted at home. Chloe was caught red-handed by Dad stealing money. Dad beat her hard. Have we not given you money? Why steal at such a young age? Chloe sobbed. You brought her in, let her use my room and things. She has an MP4, I don't. Why can't I have some money? What MP4? I dropped my old backpack and wiped sweat with my uniform sleeve. That stuff's only popular in your fancy school. I've never even seen it. Stepmom, eyeing me coldly, warned Chloe. But after a search, my things were clean. Maybe Chloe wanted to fit in with classmates. I sighed as Chloe cried, lies. Dad smacked her again angrily. You're lying. Dad was so mad, he slapped Chloe hard. you're the one lying. I asked my stepmom, Mom, how much did you lose? Was it just the cost of an MP4 player? Dad hit Chloe, say it. I bought sneakers, an MP4, that's it. Stepmom shouted, I lost over 10 grand. Chloe quickly said, yes, it's definitely sister who stole too. You can steal, fine, but why can't you just leave me alone? I sighed and showed her the school forum post. You transferred to a new school, trying to fit in, inviting people to eat all the time. Mom and Dad could understand that, but you just won't stop targeting me. Do you want me to be miserable? Hearing this, Dad got even angrier. You invite people out, then blame your sister at home. What has your mom taught you? Chloe never faced adversity before. Suddenly, she foamed at the mouth and hit her head on the ground. No one believes me. You all trust this little bitch. You'll be happy if I die. You'll be happy if I die. And she tried to jump out the window. Dad panicked and rushed her to the hospital. The diagnosis was severe depression, requiring her to pause her studies and get hospitalized. The school's vibe wasn't great. The students were either rich or arrogant, often bullying others. Knowing she had money, they constantly forced her to treat them, be friendly if she paid, shun her if she didn't. She was afraid to speak up and kept on stealing more, the doctor said. Mom, now that my sister doesn't have to go to school, she'll recover soon. I affectionately held my stepmom's arm. Chloe saw this, furious, banging on the door. Stepmom shook me off. I didn't mind and pushed my new electric bike home for dinner. Where did that come from? Mom admired it. I bought it with my pocket money. How can you use his money? Mom snapped. I don't want his money. It's dirty. This is the child support he owes for 10 years. Mom thought about it, and then went to clean the new bike. Stepmom's plan backfired, but she wouldn't let it go. Within a few days, she called me over again. Your grades are not good. I've arranged for Chloe's uncle to tutor you. He graduated from a prestigious university. Study hard with him, so you can get into a good college and put your mother at ease. Seeing Leo made me tremble all over. In a previous life, I was the one framed for stealing money, became depressed, and dropped out. Stepmother also had her brother come to teach me. The result was, he raped me, threatened me that if I said anything, he'd plaster my naked photos all over. I was only 15 then, terrified, and submitted to his threats. He used me over and over, until my mom found the injuries. She took me to report to the police. Of course, there wasn't any evidence at all. She's so ugly. My brother is from a top university. Why would he touch her? Stepmom sneered. She's always hanging with unsavory types outside. Maybe she got hurt while flirting with them. Leo got away clean. Chloe turned around and spread the word saying I seduced her uncle and tried to frame him. I became the girl who slept around, almost jumped off a building. Dad put me in a mental institution. Stepmom, dripping with jewelry, slipped a bribe to the doctor. She has paranoia. Get her completely cured. I was locked up for 7 years. I didn't even get to see my mom before she passed away. I snapped back, staring at Leo, my teeth chattering. This time, I won't run away. After the lesson, I told Dad. Uncle looks at me weird. Dad was unconcerned. That's because you're too dumb. I told Stepmom, Auntie, Uncle keeps touching my hands. Stepmom, well aware of Leo's nature, said, Zoe, you just learned about health education. You're too sensitive. I turned to my friends. Chloe's uncle tutors me, and he peeks at me through the bathroom door. They were outraged. Let's go, we'll help you report this. I covered my face crying. But my grades are so bad. He's from a top university. I finally see some progress. I want him to keep teaching me. But he's harassing you. Auntie said I'm too sensitive. I don't know if I'm mistaken. I shook my head in pain. I'm just telling you guys. Don't spread it. If my mom knew I tarnished my reputation, she'd cry. Lisa, the class discipline officer, lived in the same building as Dad. She thought for a moment. Do you have class every weekend? How about this? I'll drop by to hang out with you. If he knows someone's there, he won't dare do anything. I nodded. I'll call you beforehand. Can you walk with me after school? Lisa was shocked. Is he stalking you? I don't know. I always feel he's watching me from behind. Lisa saw the utility knife on my desk, grabbed it, and put it in my hand. Carry this, hide it. Even if it's nothing, having something for self-defense is always good. I nodded, obediently hiding the knife in my pocket. Leo wasn't stalking or peeking, but his advances on me were getting more frequent. That day, he came in with a black briefcase. I remember clearly that he had tossed this bag in front of me the first time he assaulted me. I secretly called Lisa. Lisa, he's here, I'm scared. Drop by later. Then, I followed Leo into the room that was a nightmare for me. Knowing what was about to happen, my heart pounded, my head felt like needles were pricking it. Leo told me to sit, then started tutoring. After a while, he pulled me into his arms. I began to scream, struggled. Leo said, "There's no one here and no one will believe you if you tell. If you want to make a fuss, I don't mind. Let your mom know you're just a slut who gets around." His hands slipped inside my shirt, pinning me down on the bed. Everything mirrored the nightmares I had over and over. When he broke into me, I felt like I was back on that day at 15, again without any means but endurance and screams. Until there was a knock outside the door. Alright, in December, I grabbed a small knife from my pocket, swinging it wildly. Suddenly, I slashed across Leo's neck, and blood splashed all over my face. He was naked from the waist down, clutching his throat, and he fell on top of me. The world went silent. With Lisa screaming, I knew my nightmare was over. Just like I've prayed countless times in my past life, I ended him with my own hands. This nightmare plaguing me my whole life was now just a dead weight on me, a corpse. Outside the police station, I wore a coat. Mom was with me, trembling all over. Not far away, my stepmom was clutching Leo's body, wailing uncontrollably. Lisa was calm. He was trying to assault Zoe, and she swung the knife around randomly and accidentally slashed his throat. That's still murder. She killed him. My stepmom screamed. Dad walked over and slapped her hard, kicking Leo's lower body. You know what kind of person your brother was. Be honest. Did you expect this when you called him over? Just not that Zoe would dare to fight back. Where did you get the knife? The officer turned to me. It's an art knife for class. Everyone has one. We told her to bring it. Lisa said. Leo was harassing her and stalking her. We felt sorry for Zoe, so we came up with the idea together. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Mom cried. I sobbed. Aunt told me to study well. She said if I didn't get into college, Dad wouldn't want me anymore. A family of scum. Dad slapped my stepmom again. She collapsed and stared blankly at Leo's body. He's dead, and yet is still in that state. I went and got checked, and the tear and bleeding matched Leo's DNA. With Dad and Lisa's testimonies, it was ruled self-defense, and I was released without charges. To protect my reputation, the police sealed the records, and Lisa promised never to bring it up. Dad gave Mom a lot of money to take care of me, hinting they often fought. She's just a money-wasting brat. God knows how much money she secretly sent home these years. She even built a house for her dead parents and bought a home for that dead man. Now she says Zoe killed her brother, making a scene. Why doesn't she think about what he did? Dad raged. I figured the time was right and didn't go home after school one day. I went straight to KTV and ordered Fiona. You're ordering me? Fiona was barely older than me, but her hair was done. She wore revealing clothes and looked like a pro with a cigarette. I shoved cash at the counter. Book her for 2 hours, off-site. Seeing it was just a girl like me, Fiona was curious, but came with me to a room. I took her to the Happy Hotel at number 184 Forward Road, booking an hourly room. Little girl, what do you want? I want someone to talk to. I sat on a chair, holding my knees, and told her about how Leo raped me and I killed him in return. The cigarette dropped from Fiona's mouth. She eventually lit another. Scump like that deserves to die. Though the police kept it under wraps, there were still rumors at school, likely from Julia. She was saying I was the one seducing him. Sis, do you think it was really my fault? Bullshit. Fiona's face turned cold. She tried to awkwardly comfort me for a while. When it got dark, my dad found me. You ran off without a word. Your mom was scared and called me. Do you know how? He pushed the door open and met Fiona's inky gaze. Fiona turned her face away, fiddling with her strap awkwardly. Who's she? Dad asked. A new big sister I met. She's nice to me. Oh, okay. Dad led me downstairs, glancing back at her. Fiona was another one of Dad's affairs. He was supposed to meet her at a bathhouse, and things would quickly heat up. Stepmom came in as the mistress, so she probably didn't think that Dad would cheat again, right? Rumor has it that she went to confront Fiona. Quit making moves on my husband. Fiona retaliated. Don't badmouth me. I'm in this business. You think I care if your man's covered or not? If you had the guts, chop off his junk and leash him up. Only then will I be out of business no matter how I spread. Can't handle it? Then don't whine here. Who spoils you like that? Stepmom's karma was exactly her. Past Christmas, New Year was nearing. Festive spirit was everywhere, while I got more anxious. Last life, on December 30th at 10:23 a.m., Mom riding her scooter on Forward Road, got hit by an out-of-control truck driving the wrong way. She was gathering evidence of Leo's assault to save me from the psych ward. Back alive, I didn't want to share the struggles of a single-parent home, and envied Chloe's family in their mansion. I complained about her not providing for me, lacking time, and not caring. neither beautiful nor gentle. But when push came to shove, she was the only one, thinking of saving me till her last moment. Mom, don't go out at night lately, I told her while hugging. I had a bad dream. Bad dreams aren't real. I dreamed I died. Mom immediately moved into a temple for me. Watching her walk behind yellow walls, fasting for 7 days, I was relieved. Then the police called. Zoe, it's Sky from the precinct, handling your case. Can we talk? I think there are still questions around this case. How about 10 p.m. on the 30th? That late? It's New Year's Eve. I hung up the phone, put on some lipstick, and headed off to the mental hospital. Today was my stepmother's day to visit Chloe. Since my brother was killed and my daughter went crazy, she aged a lot, and she didn't dress as sharply anymore. Recently, my dad has been arguing with her so much that he's exhausted and often not home. This made her as irritable as my mom was 10 years ago. When she saw me, her eyes turned vicious. Where'd you get that lipstick? A flicker of panic crossed my eyes. Mom bought it for me. If your mom knew a thing or two about looking good, I wouldn't have taken her man from her. Tell the truth. Fiona gave it to me. You've seen her. Seems like she already knows about Fiona. Fiona's a good person, gentle and loyal. Dad wants to marry her. She's a prostitute. At least she doesn't have a brother who's a rapist, I said. That was your fault. She raised her hand to hit me. That's why Dad hates it. I stared at her. A family filled with hatred. That's not what he wants. My stepmom was stunned, her eyes becoming filled with extreme resentment. They've been married for 10 years, and now they're sworn enemies. Where do they meet? I can't say. She pulled out her wallet and handed me a bunch of cash. I hesitated. The Happiness Hotel on Forward Road. Later, I alerted Fiona. My stepmom knows you're with my dad. What can she do? She's a lunatic. Last time my dad came over to say a few words, she rushed in with a knife trying to kill my mom. Fiona cursed. If you run into her, leave immediately and don't look back. Got it. I handed her a flyer for the Seaside Park fireworks, New Year's Eve fireworks, right by Forward Road. Wanna go? Fiona took the flyer. Damn, hang out with the dad, then the kid, huh? If you can get my dad to come too, it'd be good. I haven't spent New Year's with him since I figured things out. Fiona sighed and patted my head. All right. Actually, my stepmom never tried to stab my mom with a knife, but in a past life, I heard she almost stabbed my dad. She went to catch him cheating, and saw Dad and Fiona having a good time. She tried to stab him right then and there, almost succeeding, but Fiona and Dad overpowered her, and Dad broke up with her and went back to the family. My mom used to cry and make scenes, but it was useless. Turns out, the knife shouldn't be pointed at herself, but at him to make him listen. But why though? Why should he get to live happily ever after with my stepmom in the end? What a load of second chances, and welcoming back the prodigal son. No way. December 30th, evening. After finishing a call with my mom to confirm she'd be chanting at the temple tonight, I headed to the cafe across from the Happiness Hotel. Sky opened his laptop across from me. I reviewed the case file and found some suspicious points. I wanted to confirm with you. Chloe is your half-sister, right? Yes. Then she bullied you at school and got disciplined. After transferring, she suddenly went crazy. What are you implying? Leo raped you, and during his attack, you killed him in self-defense. Everyone around you knew he was a beast. Don't you find that too coincidental? That's not a coincidence, I told Sky. That's karma. Karma isn't real, Sky replied. Let me guess boldly. Did you spread some rumors about being a victim and pushed your sister crazy? Similarly, did you orchestrate an ambush to kill Leo? Right, I raped Leo. I forced him to take off his pants and climb on top, I retorted. Sky said, I just think he may have fallen into your trap. I knew you'd think that. I calmly looked at his face. Sky was the detective in this area, and in another life, he handled my case. Back then, he said, she might have delusions of victimhood, because he couldn't find any evidence. Just then, the cafe patrons began whispering, looking across at the Happiness Hotel. I saw Fiona running out wrapped in a towel, barefoot, without looking back. I nudged Sky. Something seems to be happening across the street. Mind your business, Sky said. I had to stick back to my seat. I don't know what evidence you've got for your theory. I don't, Sky stated, but I'll keep an eye on you. If you try anything else, I won't let it slide. Right as he finished talking, people around us gasped, pointing across the street. That's a murder. Sky turned around. He saw my stepmom, covered in blood, stumbling into the street. That night, Fiona invited Dad to watch the fireworks. Dad said, it's a long night, the New Year starts at midnight, and went to get a room with her. My stepmom had been staking out the Happiness Hotel for a long time, and barged in soon after, pounding on the door. Remembering my words, Fiona wrapped herself in a towel and ran without looking back. Stepmom wasn't just angry about my dad's affair, she remembered the grudge. His daughter killed his brother and got away with it. This time, my dad had no help and she stabbed him many times. When she snapped out of it, she panicked, dropped the knife, and ran out into the street. I was sitting right there with Sky. Sky recognized her and looked at me, shocked. "Why are you looking at me? Aren't you a cop? Go get her," I said nonchalantly. Sky bolted out. Seeing his uniform, my stepmom freaked out and started running at full speed. I was looking at the clock on the wall. 10:23. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Then came the screech of brakes. Boom. On December 30th, 2008, at 10:23, an out-of-control truck sped through Xiangqin Road and killed my stepmother. Body parts were scattered over 100 meters. The officer, who couldn't handle someone dying right in front of him, quit soon after. He thought he caused my stepmother's death, and he could never save anyone again. I met Fiona once and handed her 10 grand. Stop being a prostitute. She didn't ask where the money came from or why I was helping her. She just puffed on her cigarette and said, "My dad's a gambling addict. That's a sickness you can't cure. Let's go." With the money, Fiona disappeared from this city, just like that. Years later, I saw her again on a study abroad program page. She was wearing a lab coat, looking all cool and nothing like she used to be. But that's a story for another time. Dad was taken to the hospital, and a few days after my stepmom died, he passed away. On the day of the funeral, I went to see Chloe. I told her, "Dad and Mom are gone." I paused and added, "I mean, our dad and your mom are dead. Your mom slashed him, then walked out and got hit by a runaway truck. You're an orphan now." Chloe lunged forward, pounding on the door, wanting to tear me apart. I just watched her. In a past life, it was her mom who handed me those words. Turns out, being the one outside the door feels pretty good. Doctors came in, strapped her down, and gave her a sedative. With both parents gone, my sister and I split the inheritance, but I'm managing her share for now. I told the doctors I'd pay for her meds every month. She better get the best treatment. Got it? The doctor nodded. I walked out of the mental hospital. Mom was outside with her new electric bike, waiting for me. I climbed onto the back, wrapping my arms around her waist. "Mom, if I were a demon, would you still love me?" Mom was startled, but then she said, "You're not a demon. You're my dearest daughter." Yeah, Mom spent her whole life loving me. I won't miss out again. I held her waist tight, and she laughed. "Let's go home." The end.